Hi, my name is Geert Van Gele and I will be discussing how to choose a recorder when you are a pre-professional or a professional recorder player. This video is part of a series that accompanied the book Thoughts on the Recorder, which is available through my webshop kettenberg.net. You can find a link in the description, and I have also included a clickable link at the end of this video if you want to learn more about it. I'm a strong believer that once you have registered as a student at a conservatory and you are preparing for a professional career as a recorder player, your first handmade low-pitched recorder should be an instrument with which you can really work, with which you can lift to another level. At this stage, you should buy an instrument that does not require overcoming extra difficulties like the instruments that I will describe in this level. Rather, your first handmade instrument should be an instrument as described in video 2, the second level, where your instrument plays very easily with a very good sound and where all the notes speak with ease and with a good overall tuning. So why bother with a level 3, you ask? Once you have mastered the recorder with all of its quirks and you have a solid technique to rely on, I think it's time to extend your sound palette. So what instruments are these? And in which way do they differ from the handmade recorders from level 2? These instruments are close matches to original instruments. They are recorders with a personality and with a soul, if you are willing to search for them. Working with such instruments will expand and develop your very own voice. These are instruments which will guide you, if you are open to the idea of being guided at least. But you have to be prepared to work harder. You have to be willing to adapt to the instrument, change fingerings, make compromises in terms of dynamics, the speaking of certain notes, and you should be willing to deal with the different diapason. Let me show you some examples of the differences you will be confronted with. I will start by comparing my favorite instruments to the handmade instruments I showed in video 2. I will start out by playing the level 2 handmade recorders shown in video 2. So now come the level 3 instruments. This instrument, as you can see, has single holes on the bottom, as most original recorders do. The pitch of this instrument is also lower than 415. It's positioned around 408 or 405 when it's colder. Also, this instrument features single holes on the bottom, and it has some compromises in terms, or you should make some compromises when you play this instrument. This voice flute will show this very clearly. It's a 415 instrument, but it has some quirks. Has a really beautiful, pure sound. But as you may have noticed in the top register, the dynamics become pretty limited. Also in the top register, even though the sound is very pure, Some notes speak with really difficult. So you have to be very careful when you get to these notes. You have to really work with the instrument in order to really understand where all of these quirks are. Once you master these quirks, however, on the upside, a whole world of sound opens up to you, and you get a sound palette with which you can really fill your life, so to speak. I have one more instrument to show you, which is a bass recorder. The tuning on this instrument is so difficult that you actually need to change the fingerings completely. On the upside, it has enormous amount of dynamics and rich sounds with which you can choose. Sadly, it's still very hard to run into these instruments because most builders reside to building safe instruments. A builder will start from an original museum instrument like every recorder builder does, but then they improve them in ways that speak to the modern recorder player. Recorder players nowadays expect perfect tuning, dynamics up to a zoo, easy speaking, and so on. In other words, they expect instruments that you are looking for in level 2. Now, is it so difficult for recorder builders to stick closer to originals? Well, I actually don't think it's harder than making level 2 instruments. Only the market may be considered to be too small in order to make enough profit. On the other hand, if enough people would be asking for these instruments, I think things might change. At this point, I have encountered only a couple of builders that make close copies on the side. In the 4th chapter of my book Thoughts on the Recorder, I refer to the way that Frans Bruggen coped with original instruments and what that can teach us. One more thing about these close copies. The original recorders all have a slightly different diapason, and they are all generally lower than 415, often 410 or 405. How necessary is it to get the diapason exactly right, like the historical ones? Well, the lower pitched instruments do sound at their best at those very same pitches. This is how they were conceived historically. Getting away from that does mean you diminish the sound quality, but it may be the one compromise you're willing to make. On the other hand, I think most Baroque instruments you will be playing with are mostly able to tune their instrument lower in order to accommodate your lower pitched recorder. Also, for a recorder builder, it's not too difficult to make an additional middle joint, which would bring the instrument up to pitch at 415. So, to my feeling, there are enough reasons for both players and builders to take this route. Hopefully, this will materialize in the near future. So, this is all for now. In the next video, I will be discussing how to go about when you need to play in your recorder when it's new. I see you next time. Have a great day.